All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live Sessions. I'm here with Rachel. I'm so excited because she's just amazing and so talented, and I'm so excited to share her with everybody. Um, she hails from here in Seattle and is just has traveled all over the world playing and has a number of awards. And I just want to share her music with everybody because she's just so just great. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into music?
Sure. That was a really nice introduction. Thanks, Kara. I grew up in Linwood, Washington, and I went to Linwood High School. But I started playing violin when I was 6, and it was because my dad forced me to, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like I was forced. Like I'd always wanted to be a soccer player, but he was like, if you want to play soccer, you also have to play violin, and so it was like that. And then I ended up going to college for it at University of Texas Austin,
Yeah.
and that's where I actually felt like I started to love it.
Yeah.
And then it led me to do a master's and then to move to New York to go to Juilliard, the music school that
Yeah.
is in a lot of movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I had a great time in New York, and now I'm moving back to Linwood. So I'm really excited to be back where I feel like my home is because
Yeah.
yeah.
Where it all started.
Yeah.
So I heard I read once that you compared yourself or playing music to soccer, like that it's that competitive nature about getting, it's kind of in sync with being on stage. Can you kind of dive into that, or why that's what you're thinking there?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for classical music, you have to do a lot of competitions,
Yeah.
actually, like literal string competitions from when you're little to even like last year I did one.
Yeah.
And it's like that ice in your veins you need to get up on stage in front of, whether you're in a competition or you're in a 3,000 seat concert hall, like you have to be able to perform, then you have to be
Yeah.
able to hit all your shifts, when you're on the violin. And I always felt like that when I was playing soccer, like you need to be on your game and you can't be missing shots and you got to make your passes and you got to make your plays. And if you're not on it, it's
Yeah.
gonna fail. Especially like penalty shootouts. I don't know if you know, like if there's a big match and it's tied by the end of the 90 minutes, they have to go to this really, really hard thing to do, and it's called penalty shootout. And it's like everybody's watching you, and everybody has to take a turn against the keeper to shoot, and that's how if you score, then
Oh,
whoever scores more wins. And it's
yeah.
like the most nerve-wracking thing ever.
Oh my
So
god. Yeah. I think I would probably not want to do that.
yeah. I mean, people like grown men cry if they miss, like on the
Right.
field. Like it's
Oh,
a huge thing. So that's what
yeah.
I compare those two.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I had read too that you had wanted to growing up wanted to be a soccer player. So at what point did you like was it college or maybe Juilliard or at the University of Texas where you're just like, I think I'm gonna just go down the music path rather than the athletic path? Like those are two totally different things. So
Yeah.
though they have the same kind of properties, but I mean it's still the two different things. Like did you have to kind of sort of give up that love to be able to do the violin and just found a different love?
I mean, I think it was like realizing that I was never going to make money playing soccer. I mean, I was good, but I wasn't like gonna ever play pro ever. Like,
Yeah.
and I've always been really good at violin. And my dad was like, if you want to go to college, the only way you can go with, like, because we couldn't pay for college, like, the only way you're
Mhm.
gonna go is through music.
Yeah.
And but I got lucky because I love it. I just really don't like practicing. I think that's what I
Yeah.
really didn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my fail as a kid and growing up. I would just play and I hated practicing. I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it either. My dad like sat with me every day and practiced, and my
Yeah.
mom too. So I totally understand.
Yeah. My parents would lock me in my bedroom and they're like, you have to practice for an hour. And I'm just like, I don't want to. Until I practiced for a full hour, I'd have to like sit in my room. It was pretty silly.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know so but
I feel your pain.
What?
I said, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
So I read a few things that like people were describing you as competitive and very like that you excel and that you're like very elegant when you play. All these beautiful words that just seem to just describe you in such a magnificent way. How would you describe yourself?
Oh man. I mean, the first word that I think of is awkward. And like I feel like I'm a very awkward person. I'm an only child, and I think that has a lot to do with it. But also, I don't know, adventurous
Yeah.
and nerdy.
What are you like a nerdy? Do you say like as in like music, or is there something that you think like most people think like bookworm or games or something like that? Like what would you categorize yourself with that?
Well, I've always loved to read, but I think I play D&D.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty.
I would
I think
not
that
have
fits.
guessed that.
Yeah.
A little nugget of something I would not have put on the radar at all.
Yeah, I know. But it's really fun.
Yeah. Is that
So
how you kind of escape and do something different?
yeah, yeah, you kind of get to play whatever character you come up with, and mine just happens to, my character right now just happens to play the bagpipes. So I
Oh.
guess I haven't gone too far away from the musician part, but like, yeah, it's really fun, and you get to like fight dragons and do magic and all that stuff.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's cool. I know
Yeah.
another one of your loves is nature and going hiking. So how do you think that helps you be a better musician?
Oh, I like that question. I think it really helps in terms of um I if you there's some of these pieces that I play are like 45-minute long pieces,
Yeah.
which are like from start to stop, and they have different moves, and like composers might have been writing them, whether like there's a composer named Sibelius who was very famous in Finland, and a lot of people describe him like writing playing on this frozen lake. And I feel like my hiking experiences, like especially in the Pacific Northwest, all over, like
Yeah.
we know what that looks like.
Yeah.
Like and to have that image to be able and then play that piece, really I really love like
Yeah.
looking at that image and playing. And I also really think nature is really important for any kind of artist. Well, for anybody, because I feel you feel so much more connected to yourself and to the things around you. And I think it's really calming and stress relieving and important to know where you are. Like we're just a little person in this huge environment, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It keeps you grounded. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen I got to kind of see a few things that you've played from Bach to I think you say how you say it is Tartini?
Yeah,
Tartini?
Tortini.
And like Jean Marie. And who's your favorite person to kind of bring out and bring alive when you play? Do you have a favorite composer?
I think if I have to choose, it would definitely be Bach, because I mean, everybody, all the composers after him, even people who've never heard classical music, like they know who Bach is.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. And I think it's because his music is just so universally, like when you listen to it, it doesn't matter where you come from, it's going to speak to you somehow.
Yeah.
And it's something I've been playing since I was like 6 when I started violin until now. So it's like been in my life this whole time, and I think he's a genius. And
Yeah.
another thing I like to say is like I love rock and I love like a lot of country too, and all those chord changes all stem from Bach. I think
Oh.
if like we think about it, maybe other people might get interested in Bach now that they know that. But like, yeah, so he's like the father of everything, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I did not know that. I listen to country and there's a lot of violin in country.
Yeah,
And I had no idea. That's awesome. I did not know that. It's
yeah.
cool. Yeah. You've been all over the world and have played in some of the most major places like the UK and China and New Zealand, and you had like this 14 or was it 16? I didn't write down the number. Oops.
Oh,
Like
in
16
New Zealand.
in New Zealand. Yeah, 16 shows there, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. How
it
was
was
that?
so
Was
fun.
that like being able to travel over the world and play with some of the most acclaimed people? Like what's it like to be able to be at that level and play with people? Is it kind of surreal?
Yeah. I mean, it was like my first big like concert tour right out of school. It was a deal, and um and to go to New Zealand on like a 35-hour flight, it made it even a bigger deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like I had never done anything like that before, and it takes a special kind of endurance. And but I really had a lot of fun, and I really liked New Zealand too, and exploring. I felt it really looked like a lot of areas in Washington, like
Yeah.
very similar landscape.
Yeah. In all the places you've been, do you have a favorite place that you've been that you would like to go back to or
Well, at New Zealand,
Okay.
the was so, yeah, it's like so nice. The food is so good. Everybody's so welcoming, and everybody realize likes every different kind of music and going outside and doing crazy things like bungee jumping and stuff.
Yeah. What's something crazy you'd want to do?
Mm, well, the one thing I have done is skydiving. That's something I really want to
Wow.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. No way.
No.
No.
Well, yeah, I know
Falling? Just free falling? No way. No way.
yeah, I know. I mean, I guess there's a place in the see in what's the mall by SeaTac called?
Tukwila? The South Center Mall?
South Center.
Yeah.
Does that like
I fly. Yeah.
yeah, iFly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
try. You should try that maybe. It's
You
not quite
know,
skydiving.
what's funny about that is I actually drove by there today and I was like, maybe I'll do that one day. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I have a fear of falling. So I feel like I would kind of freak out. It's not the heights that get me, it's the feeling of
Oh,
the
that
falling.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like you're coming off of a swing, you know, when you're coming down, that feeling.
Yeah.
So I don't go on swings either.
Oh, okay. No swings. Okay, got it.
I'm not a normal. I wasn't a normal kid.
Well, no, that's not. Some people don't like swings. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, no, you can. Yeah, no way. So I being someone who I mean, I listen to classical music and I really appreciate it, and I studied a little bit in college as well. And but you're the first person I met that has, and I didn't know there was a difference in violin and the types. So I was trying to read up before we met, before this thing, but you play is it said Baroque?
Mhm.
Baroque, not
Yeah.
versus like a
Like regular violin is
usual
fine.
violin. I don't
Yeah.
main violin. I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know the difference in the names. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Nobody knows any right name, so that's fine. Like I don't know what the correct name is either. So
Well, can you kind of describe to us what the difference is and why you chose the path you went for Baroque?
sure, yeah. I can show you even with the violins because I play both and I have both right here.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Let's see. So this is my Baroque violin. As you
Okay.
can see, it has a really cool. It's
Oh,
supposed
yeah.
to be a lion. It is a
Yeah.
lion. It's just some people think it looks like a bulldog.
Yeah. No, I see the line. That's so awesome.
Yeah, and I'll show. So this is the modern violin.
Modern. There we go.
Um, you can see like, let's see, can I fit them? Okay, so the modern violin has a chin on it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
As you can see, this one doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to see it. The angle of this long part
Mm-hmm.
on the Baroque violin is less. So this Baroque violin is made in 1700.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And this one's made in 1953. But yeah,
Geez.
so and it's different strings. The
Okay.
Baroque violin has gut strings made of sheep gut,
Oh,
and you
interesting.
definitely can't be a vegan and play Baroque violin.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
That was my
and this
first
one has
thought.
what?
That was my first thought. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I know. And this one has like synthetic material wrapped around metal
Okay.
strings, so it's a lot louder than this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Interesting.
Uh,
So what made you want to do the Baroque then? Was it the history or like
Um, I this is how do I explain it? Like playing a music from like the 17th century, like 1600, to music written like yesterday,
Mhm.
all different styles. Like you can't really play all those different styles the same way.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Tchaikovsky, do you know?
Yes.
Like the way I would play something like for Tchaikovsky, I would never play the same way I would play for Bach.
Okay. Okay.
So I like okay, wait, not a good example. Like for Chinese food,
Uh-huh.
like you can make really great Chinese food in a regular pan that we use for every day, but I think use a wok, it's much more authentic and it's gonna taste how the was created that first, like early.
Right.
And I think the Baroque violin is kind of that. It's for the Baroque music. It's much more authentic, I guess.
Okay.
And I got into it because of one of my teachers, and then Juilliard special program. It's very small, and it's all free, the
Yeah.
whole program, and it's for Baroque stuff. So that's how I kind of went on that path.
Okay. No, that's excellent. I did not know any of that, and I was so curious. I just did not know that there's two different types. I just always thought, like a guitar is a guitar, like an acoustic guitar, no matter what it is an acoustic guitar. I didn't realize there were so many different types. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was just curious.
No, it's a great question.
Yeah, and you play so beautifully. Like you mentioned that you played like older, 17th century type of music. Do you kind of generally like when you want to play? Is that kind of what you pick? Do you like? Is that what kind of speaks to you? Is
I it's hard to answer because it's always different. Like sometimes I definitely play like that, or the next day I want to play some like Schumann
Yeah,
or Mozart or something, which are a couple centuries later. Or I
yeah.
don't know. I like it all.
Does it just depend on the day, I guess, and the mood? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're practicing and let's say you're having a hard day, who do you go to Bach or do you go to like who do you go to? Who's your go-to?
I'd say if I'm having a bad day, it's probably gonna be some fiddle stuff,
Okay.
honestly. And that's what I was gonna play today too, because it's like just I do a lot of Scottish fiddling because
Yeah.
part of my family, like, it's long story. I'll try to make it short. Is like I am my dad is Chinese and my mom is like Scottish and French, and I always felt like I
Yeah.
never really belonged somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I was in between these two things, and so I tried to start learning different things about both sides, like music
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
And so I got really into Scottish fiddling, and it's like that's what I go to when I'm feeling bad because it's just, I don't know, it's just so freeing to play,
Yeah.
and the tunes are just like you'll see one of the tunes I'm gonna play is like the most beautiful piece I think I've ever heard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you play it now since we're talking about it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I invite my boyfriend to play guitar with me?
Sure.
Yay. Okay.
Of course you can.
So this first tune it's just a set in D major. And oh, sorry, let me introduce
I was gonna say, what's your boyfriend's name?
Hello,
Sorry.
I'm Andrew.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. We're
Andrew
very
is also,
excited too.
yeah. Andrew is also a classical musician. He plays viola.
Oh, okay.
And he also went to Juilliard, and but he's gonna play guitar.
So just before you start, did you guys meet at Juilliard then? And no, okay.
We met at a music festival where we were both performing, though.
Oh,
Yeah. But we didn't meet
awesome.
at Juilliard, no.
Awesome. Well, go right ahead, guys. I'm excited.
Yay! We got tuned first, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I know that fight.
There we go.
Can I have it too? Okay.
All right.
Doing the high roll first?
Mhm.
Yeah. That was incredible.
Yay!
That was amazing, guys.
What?
So incredible. That was so incredible. Thank you. That was so amazing. That was great. I personally love like Celtic and Scottish, and it's just like such a like a happy like music, you know. You can't help but just like bob your head and be like, yes.
I know, exactly. And you know, actually, Baroque stuff and Scottish fiddle, especially the Celtic stuff,
Yeah.
all come from the same time period, like the 18th century, like 1750s and stuff.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it like works super well on this.
On that one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so great. Is there like when you're playing that, do you ever feel like it puts you in a better mood? Like you just want to like play more and play longer,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Actually, it's been a pretty nice break from the viola, just like playing the guitar.
Yeah, he just like
Yeah.
picked it up and he's been like, I want to play guitar now.
Wow.
And he wants to play all this music, like this kind of music, and like I'm
Yeah.
like, sure, anytime.
Why not? Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you guys find that you play a lot more now? You know, being together and being musicians, like do you play pretty often, or is it
I think especially now, like what else are we gonna do?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I guess I'll play with her.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's been really nice actually that in that regard, like we have explored a lot more music than we usually do because it's usually we're not even in the same place at the same time, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Have you guys
it's a good
done
thing.
anything challenging?
What?
Have you played anything like challenging that you haven't played before?
Yeah. We did this Mozart violin viola duo that there's two of them and everybody plays one of them, and we played the other one that nobody plays.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. And I don't know if you know that the viola is kind of like the joke of the classical music world. Not that it's the best instrument, it's amazing, but like there's all these jokes like about violas and so it's usually like viola parts are written like kind of simple, and
Okay.
really easy to play. This is the stereotype, but for
Yeah.
this duo that we played, it's like we're both really equal, and it's
Yeah.
really hard. So that was a challenge.
Yeah.
And we recorded that. But yeah, we've been like exploring all this new rep, so it's been awesome.
Have you found any other like hobbies or new hobbies since you've been in quarantine?
Yeah, we bought an inflatable kayak.
Really? That's awesome. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, I know. It's actually pretty good. I mean, because kayaks are pretty expensive, but this one is pretty sturdy, and it's not like buying a real kayak.
Hasn't popped yet.
It hasn't popped yet.
Like
that was my very thought. I was like, man, what if that popped?
Well, we this is our second inflatable boat we bought because I found one at Walmart for like $40.
Yeah.
And I bought it, and we took it out for 20 minutes, and suddenly all the air was coming out, like it popped. So we had to crawl back as fast as we could.
Yeah, right. Like in the middle of the lake, like gotta get out.
I know.
It was scary.
Yeah, I would be scared too. I would not. That would not be good.
I mean, it's not. We can stand in the water. It's not so high, but
yeah, at least
whatever's
we're not
inside it is
in the
kind of
ocean.
what I'm worried about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not good with like deep water, so I definitely, if that was me, I probably would have freaked out and been like, we got to go back, man.
Yeah.
That's funny. So being at Juilliard, that's a really prestigious school that it's hard to get into. Like, what was the, a lot of people work as a child to get into Juilliard, what kind of drove you to want to do that and to be able to achieve that?
Well, you know how whatever you do as an artist, like they say, go to New York to kind of make a name for yourself.
Oh, you didn't have to leave.
Oh, why'd you leave?
I thought, okay.
You don't have to leave. You can stick around if you want.
Juilliard too.
Yeah. I think just wanting to have the New York experience was a big part of that decision.
Yeah.
And to have that name, to say that you Juilliard actually is a pretty big deal too, for people who hire you and stuff. And also just the programs and the teachers, and it like they are the best. So like just to have that experience. I don't know if it drove me as a child, but it definitely drove me later. But I think for him, it drove him as a child because he went to Juilliard when he was 18. And
okay.
Just like, yeah.
Undergrad and masters, yeah.
Were you also like always a musician growing up? I mean, I know we're here to interview her, but I mean, you might as well.
I actually started in a public school program when I was 10. I started on viola, which is kind of a rare thing. And a lot of people tend to start on the violin and then they switch over. And I always had Juilliard on my radar, mainly because of the teachers I wanted to study with. And I think being in New York, also, it's kind of like a big hub in America where a lot of, like, everybody comes to New York to play.
Yeah.
And so, like, kind of being in that pool really helps you make connections.
Yeah.
So that you can eventually leave and
go back home to Linwood.
Go back home in Linwood. Yeah. And yeah.
Are you also from Washington?
No, he's from Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah.
But he likes Washington though.
I love Washington. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I've been here my whole life. I love it too. Once you're here, you kind of like, I've lived in other places and I'm like, nah, I always come back to Washington.
Same here. Where are you from?
I was born in Idaho, and then I lived in California, and then I have lived here for much of my life. So
nice.
Yeah, I've traveled all over, but I always come back to Washington. Nashville might be a close second. Like that might be a close second, but I haven't gone to New York or anything. I haven't been that far east yet, so that might change.
Yeah. I haven't been to Nashville. I've heard so many great things about it though.
I drove from Seattle to Nashville, and it was a long week, but it was totally worth it. I love Nashville. It's so beautiful. I'm a musician too, and I would completely like up and leave almost maybe. But I have a heart in Washington, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so then I heard that you or I saw that you love bunnies, and their bunnies are just like your like love of your life. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Do
I've
you
had
have some now, I think, right? Two of them?
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
They're
I have
Goldie and
they
Choosy.
good job.
Yeah.
That's good.
Whoa, I don't think anyone's ever pronounced them right. That's
Yeah.
great.
Like, have you had an interview before this?
No.
Like, we like you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like animals and have pretty interesting names for mine too. So I definitely understand that.
Nice.
Where did you come up
Yeah.
with those names?
You know, it's always been like that since I've had rabbits since I was 9, and they've all
Yeah.
had really weird names, and they've kind of just come to you, and then you're like, yeah, that
Yeah.
that totally is his or her name, and
Yeah.
I don't know, they're just kind of random.
Yeah. What do you find having them since you were younger? You said being an only child was it kind of comforting to have them, or I know for me being an only child growing up, I mean I had my cousins and stuff, but it wasn't the same. You know, I had animals my whole life, from like rats to dogs to cats to fish. Like I have a turtle, you know, like so I'm just wondering, is it kind of the same thing where you're like it's just you kind of need that friend, so to say?
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know you were an only child too, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it was definitely like my best, like having a furry friend. Like
Yeah.
I didn't, yeah, exactly what you said. Like I needed someone else, and
Yeah.
growing up, it's funny because a lot of people say I remind them of a rabbit. I wonder if it's because I grew up with rabbits and they were my only friend. No, that sounds really sad.
Okay,
And
so
so
funny thing, people say that though. They say that the animal you kind of resemble the animal that you love, you know? And I mean, I don't think you resemble a rabbit, but I mean, I I've never
okay,
heard,
that's good.
I've heard people looking like dogs and cats, but I've never heard rabbit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know like rabbits are very quiet, but they can get really loud if they really like feel like very strongly about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm very much like that. Like,
He's
and
agreeing. He's like, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I read that you kind of hone in on the people that kind of have influenced you in your life. And that Rachel, I want to say I'm gonna butcher it, probably Podger.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That was
Um,
perfect.
and that your teacher, Brian Lewis, also kind of influenced you. Can you kind of tell us why they did, and what made them so influential in your journey?
Yeah. Well, you chose the two people that I would definitely the top two. They're both my teachers, but the funny thing about them is that I've known about them since I started violin. Well, I've known about Brian because he came to Seattle for the Japan Suzuki Festival. It's
Okay.
happened every year, and he was like the star, like
Yeah.
star violinist who would come, and so I had been seeing him play and teach since I was 6, and
Wow.
when my teacher in like Snohomish, she died when I was in high school, and Brian heard, and he actually came and taught us, and that's
Wow.
how I ended up going to UT Austin because he was the violin professor there, and he was like, "You should come study with me." So that was really fortunate for me because he was like the best teacher. And Rachel Potter, I didn't meet her until 3 years ago when I started at Juilliard.
Yeah.
And but I had known about her too as a child because she had this Bach CD that I grew up listening to, and I always thought she was like the best. And when I met her, I was like starstruck.
Yeah.
She is still the best, and she's also like the most humble and gracious and nice person too.
Yeah.
So it was
Of all the people that you've played with, who's been who's somebody that you kind of have and like really enjoy or connect with when you play? Is there anybody that you just it's just easy to play with them?
Yeah, there's been a couple people. I would say Rachel Podger is definitely one. And fortunately, Andrew is also another person. No, I don't have to say
Yeah,
that.
are you gonna say that now,
Okay, now who do you really like to play with?
I would also say I played with. Well, you get to meet a lot of colleagues who are like around your age, and
yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes you just click with people, and I started a group with one of my friends. Sorry, my bunny was trying to bite our cord, so that was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I there's just so many people like conductors or different instrumentalists, but definitely Andrew is one of them. So that's I'm pretty lucky.
Well, that's good. That's good that you live with them, I guess.
Yeah, right?
Is there anybody you haven't played with that you're kind of wanting to play with?
Oh man, yes. There's this instrument called viola da gamba. That is this. It's a really weird. It's like the predecessor to what became the violin family. Like this shape of a violin didn't really exist until the middle of the 1500s.
Okay.
So, but it came from these instruments like viola da gamba. So it means like a viol that gamba is legs, so you hold it between your legs. And there's all these different sizes, like from huge, like a bass, like a string bass, to like basically this side, but you play it like this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But there's
all kinds of new things.
Yeah, there's so many weird things that but there's this really famous gambist that is like he plays with everybody, like from the I don't know, like Itzhak Perlman and like people like that. I would love to play with him, Jordi Savall.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you think you'll ever like be? I mean, you've played with some pretty impressive people. Do you think you'll be able to like do that somehow through networking?
Maybe.
You guys will pick ice crowd.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Really.
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're manifesting it right now.
Yes, putting it into the universe.
Well, if you guys want, you could play another song. I don't know what you had prepared, but yeah. I kind of want to see you play the viola too, Andrew. I've never seen that before.
I mean, somewhere over there.
I mean, not to put you on the spot.
Do you want to play? We can play the Mozart.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay.
Yeah?
We're going to play some Mozart, but he has to go get his viola.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You might want to
play something on your own while we wait for him to come back? Just for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure. How about I play some Bach? So we have like all different types of things.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what kind. Okay. I'm going to play a Gigue by Bach.
Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing. Gosh, I just love watching you play. It's just like I could just sit and do it forever. Like it's just
Thank you, Kara. That's really nice.
I love it so much. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit maybe until like, oh, you just came back. Never mind.
Oh, you guys can talk.
Okay. All right. So I read that you got you were the first Baroque recipient to get the 2020 Avery Fisher Career Grant Award, right? What was that? I kind of read a little bit about it, but can you explain a little bit about it and why that's kind of prestigious and tell us a little bit how it felt getting that?
Sure. This career grant is like kind of like the Oscars for the classical music world, I think.
Yeah.
And it's given every year to 1 to 5 people per year, and it's for young musicians who that the panel and all these people think have a solo career for them, like in the future.
Yeah.
And you get a grant that you can use towards your career in any way you want.
Wow.
So I never, like, it was something I knew about, but I never really thought I would get that.
Yeah.
And when I found out, I was just like, this can't be true.
Yeah.
And also just to know that I was the first Baroque person to get it was also just like, it was kind of like, I don't know. My parents were shocked. I was shocked. Like,
Yeah. But what a great proud moment though for you. Like, I mean that must kind of give you some confidence in what you're doing though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, you're already very confident. I don't think that you aren't, but I mean, I would think it would kind of be like, man, like this really kind of solidifies me in knowing that people really respect you as an artist and as a musician in your field.
Yeah, I feel like very, like all that work I did I think it paid off, and I'm very glad I chose to go to New York and meet all these people, and that this path has led to this, and it really does feel like that, and I'm glad that I didn't make the wrong choice, I guess, if there is a wrong choice, but yeah.
I mean, when you're kind of destined to do something, I don't think there is any wrong choices.
Yeah, I agree. Well, he's back.
Yay! Welcome back, Andrew.
Just gonna warm up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you get to hear both violins, so.
Yes. I'm so excited.
Yay!
This is some Mozart.
So is that duo I was talking about?
Yeah.
And we'll play the last movement, which is a theme and then variations on the theme.
Okay.
All right. Can I have your egg? See if I can put Andrew in there a little bit better.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah! Wow. That was great. Man, I wish I had like a clapping machine. That was awesome. That was so great, you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh no.
Oh. Did it stop? Can you guys hear
I
me?
think you cut out, but I think I got.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, this was so much fun.
Yeah, you guys did such a great job. Thank you so much for coming on here. Oh no. Did it stop?
I can't tell. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
We were just saying this was so much fun, and like thank you so much for having me and having Andrew too, and like really you have no idea how much fun this was. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your gift and being willing to. Like I've kind of been following you for a while, and I'm just very honored to have you on here. And you too, Andrew. You're amazing as well. So that was kind of a special icing on the cake. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you everybody for joining us that joined in and tuned in. And make sure you follow her on Instagram and Facebook and you know, support her and love her because she's amazing and talented. So I appreciate you guys coming on again, and come back and play for us, please.
Anytime.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on.
Yay. Okay, great.
Sounds great. And I can't wait to see you in person. And the moment you have a show, tell me so I can come.
You got it. Thank you. Totally.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.